My name is Kebabonye Khabaki. I'm a master guide from South Botswana Conference. We are here today to discuss a very important issue which pertains to the protection and safeguarding of children wherever they are. It is an important issue because every child has the right to be protected from abuse. He has the right to be protected from neglect, from exploitation of any kind. Now, when it comes to us here in Botswana, we note that there is the statistics are quite glaring. We have about 10.4% of the males, of the females actually, and 4% of the males who have experienced sexual violence in this country. And I must say that not only is it a problem for children to be exploited sexually, it is also a pertinent issue in the sense that of that statistics, there is high prevalence of HIV among the children who are aged 13 to 17 years. So that's something that really makes it an important issue to discuss today. We are here to look into these issues, how they pertain to the church, and I must say at the end of the day, we want to promote safety and safeguarding in the church environment. This can only be done by having a welcoming environment such that every person in the church can be free to speak about these issues. Another thing that we really want to promote in our churches, not only the SDA churches, SDA church, is that we should actually be able to assess for risks and also to be able to come up with activities or actions that would address the risk of any cases that we find which are compromising the protection of children. And I think the country has started. Somewhere last year, we had the police, the SOS, and also the police, SOS, and the SNCD coming together to address this issue. So it is also important for churches to look into this issue because we note that churches play a very important role with the fact that all children or people, when they experience any social ill, we always run to the church for support. So that is why we are here today to discuss this issue. I am not alone. I have colleagues here. I have my pastors. I also have a very important man when it comes to these issues, child protection. So I'll give them a chance to introduce themselves. Thank you.
Thank you and good afternoon. My name is Madoda Nasha. I work for the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. We call it the UN Refugee Agency. I'm working as the head of field office, and I'm also affiliated or work on behalf of UNHCR as a liaison officer to the SADC Secretariat. The UN Refugee Agency is an agency that brings protection to asylum seekers. We also work closely with governments, such as the Botswana government, to ensure that we protect asylum seekers, we protect refugees. This particular vulnerable group is the one that we work for.
Okay, thank you so much, Renasha. My pastor?
Dumelang. My name is Brian Kimoabe, Pastor Brian Kimoabe, currently serving as the Youth Director in South Botswana Conference. Thank you so much for this opportunity to be here, as we'll be talking about the welfare of children.
Thank you, Muruti. My other pastor this side.
Thank you so much. I am Kisuletsi Captain Mukoya. I'm the pastor that is responsible for education in South Botswana Conference. This issue of child protection is of interest, especially to the department, not only the Department of Youth, but also the Department of Education, because together we need to work and safeguard our children. Thank you so much.
Thank you everyone. So I think we can now delve into the issues for discussion this afternoon, starting with you, Renasha. Can you share with us the role of your organization in child protection? I know you spoke a little bit about that.
Well, when we look at child protection, when we look at asylum seekers and refugees, you have to understand that when it comes to children, they are particularly vulnerable. Let's look at the issue of asylum seekers. When you're an asylum seeker, you're usually running away from persecution. Children are most vulnerable when they are moving either alone or with parents to violence, to sexual abuse, to even trafficking. They are highly vulnerable to such things. I mean, if you can think of your own children when they are 7, when they are 8, when they are 10, some of them at 6, and maybe war breaks out, and they scatter and they cross international borders. They require a special treatment. They have seen things that your child may never have seen during their lives. In war, there's lots of things that go on. There are war crimes that can happen. There's sexual abuse, there's violence as people are fleeing. So these children need to be protected. So where we come in as the UN Refugee Agency is to assist governments, governments such as the Botswana government, to protect these children. And what we have in the international framework is something that is called the Convention on the Rights of the Child. We ascribe to that. Which has already been domesticated to what you know here as the Children's Act. But also when you look at asylum seekers and refugees, you have the convention, the Refugee Convention, the 1951 Convention relating to the status of refugees and asylum seekers, which Botswana has domesticated, and we have in Botswana the Refugee Act. Now, you cannot divorce the Children's Act from the Refugee Act. They work hand in hand. So you will find that in Botswana, when children are vulnerable and they are refugees, they are covered by both the Children's Act and the Refugee Act.
Okay.
Yes. So we work very, very hard to ensure that these children are even counseled when they arrive in Botswana. Sometimes they arrive alone as UAMs, or what we sometimes call unaccompanied minors.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much, Muriti. Now, when it comes to child protection issues, do we have any experience, anything that is happening around the churches? Not only your church, but even other churches?
Yes, there's a lot going on. We do have challenges in our churches across. As you know, that the church is a community of believers that come from different backgrounds. So obviously the challenges that children face in a certain community, they will certainly also appear even in a church setting. So we do have those challenges, and we do have things in place and hence the program today to talk about such things on how then do we mitigate against such challenges to protect the children.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe you can just share with us what is in place for us to protect children.
All right.
In the church environment.
In the church environment.
Yeah.
Yes. Currently, what we have in our church policies, specifically speaking to the church manual, the church is advised that when we vote people into offices or into positions of dealing with children in our churches, we should vote in people who have gone through training on how to handle children, some kind of certification course. And also, the church manual also says that we should do background checks on these people who handle our children, because you know we in a church setting we deal with issues of faith, and we take a lot of things by faith, and there's a lot of trust. However, we are advised by our policies that let's follow these things for the sake of protection of our children.
Okay. Yeah. My other pastor, last year you were on the national TV talking about these issues. Now, hearing what my pastor was saying, is there anything that you have, maybe any initiatives what steps have you taken to move the program forward?
Okay. Thank you so much for that question. Yeah, last year we were working with the Botswana Police and SOS, we had come together to discuss and deliberate on issues of child protection. And of most importance, chipping into what the pastor was saying, is that we had called our people, those that we usually ask, we call them master guides, those that work with children almost on in the majority of the classes that we have in the church. So it was an upskilling program. And from that program, we learned that it's something that we need to strengthen going forward.
Yeah.
So this is another of the similar program that we need to take up in order to position ourselves as child caretakers in a way that we can be able to be conversant with children's issues, to know their rights, and to know what surrounds the children so that we can help them better.
Okay.
And this time around, we are not only with Botswana Police again, we also now have on board stepping stones.
Yeah.
And we also have the Department of Social Protection, the custodians of the Children's Act in our context, that will be we will be having a discussion together on the Sabbath as we train the master guides on child protection.
Yeah. Yeah, that really sounds like there is a lot of progress that has been made in terms of partnership.
Thank you.
And it is also showing that at least the church is conscious. There's quite some kind of awareness that is going to take place in our church, not only our church, but even in other churches. Now we can move to the second aspect of questions, where now we want to talk about policies. Still with you, my pastor, what are the challenges in the church? What are the challenges that you think we have in terms of safeguarding children in the church? Yes,
like we usually say that the challenge is that the church, let me say the church is a part of a larger community. So the challenges that the children have outside are still replicated and seen inside the church. We have children that will come to church not properly dressed. We have children that will show signs of emotional disturbance. We have children that will just by looking at them see that these children will need some kind of care. And to have those among us is a concern that makes us arise and have a program such as this one, so that we can together as a church and as a society be able to play advocates or advocacy for children to try and address their needs and provide a safe haven for their livelihood.
Yeah, okay. So, the next thing is that he was just talking about the challenges here. Is there anything that you can foresee that the church should do to overcome some of these challenges? The challenges that you just mentioned.
Yes, we do have those challenges, and it's important that we note that at times what is written on paper as policy doesn't do much so long as it stays in the books. So I think from last year's training that we had on these issues has really revived in us the need to see the need for us to act and implement what we have already as policies. So for that to be effected, we are starting these trainings like the one we're having tomorrow to train our people, our church members, on how to make sure that children are protected as they come to church, as they go through their classes, as they go through worship. A church becomes a true haven, a true safe space for them. So such are one of the things that we are doing, training. And number two, also the implementation of policies for people to be aware that when at least some kind of harm is seen done on a child, what are things to be done in terms of reporting? Do we report to the police? How do we go about it? How do we report to the local authorities in the church? And so forth. So such things, we are sensitizing the church about them, training them about them, and also capacitating the leadership of the church also to know these things, not only those who are actually working with the children, but also the leadership itself to know what to do when such things happen in our local churches.
Okay. Yeah. Ranasha, he's speaking about the, getting things to be done for the children. I would just want you to talk about the best interest of the child. Because most of the time we are doing these things time and again, and then this issue of best interest of the child, we sort of forget it at the back. Maybe if you can speak to that and make sure that you help us as a church. How does it become our primary consider? How does it become one of the things that we really consider?
I think you have to place the best interest of the child before anything, because that will inform your policy, that will inform your posture as a church in terms of what you should do to protect the child. I can tell you that within the UN Refugee Agency, we conduct what is called a BID, a BID. It's called a best interest determination. And what we do is that there are certain criteria that we look at, there's certain process that we follow. In any case, when it comes to the child, there's types of questions that we ask, and we determine what the issue is, and we determine what is in the best interest of the child for that particular incident or that challenge that you are trying to overcome. You determine what it is, and normally we have what is called a BID panel, best interest determination panel. So it's not just one person from the UN agency, but there's other people with different qualifications that look at this case, and you come to what is called, now this is what is in the best interest of the child. So I would say, does the church have that sort of a process? You have to develop that type of a process. It is structured. It's not just one person sitting there and making a decision, but it is a systematic, process-driven type of way of finding out what is in the best interest of the child. So you can even do it, you can get assistance from us, we can show you how it is done. You earlier spoke, you said that you got in touch with SNCD, the government child protection agencies. You can sample to have a look at how they go ahead with those type of processes, and you can domesticate those things and have even a rapid assessment. You don't have to make it very complicated, just a rapid assessment that you can make within the church, because I'll tell you, it will make life very easy for law enforcement, for child protection agencies to take over whatever issues that you have and carry them over using their own internal processes.
So I guess we have actually learned a lot. We would know now that we have to do a bit as the church, and he's offering himself as a technocrat that we can collaborate with and with other stakeholders. Are there any fundamental considerations that you would like to give to the church for us to move forward with this issue of safeguarding the children in the church environment?
Well, first of all, I think I should commend you, commend the church, because from what you all have been saying, there's a lot that has been done. I'm saying that because I want you to be proactive in terms of understanding what is on the ground. What are the policies that are on the ground when it comes to child protection, in terms of government, in terms of other agencies, non-governmental agencies? What is it that is going on? You'd be able to learn a lot if you dig deep and find out what obtains on the ground. Find out where the gaps are. There's a lot of people that have done a lot of research to find out what's going on in child protection. There's so many civil society organizations. Try and be conversant with the conversation on the ground. What are civil society organizations saying about this issue on the ground? And I'm telling you, as the church, you are super, super, super important. Because when it comes to child protection, it is a multi-layered problem that requires a multi-pronged approach. And you are one of the prongs that come into that protection. So then once you figure out what obtains on the ground, you'll be able to see how you fit in. Because those parents, those guardians, those older people that look after maybe refugee children, they come to your churches. You ought to be able to do your part as a church to say, once they come through your church doors, they become your objective to solve if you find such problems.
I really want to thank the church also, because Muruti Makoya talked about the partnerships that we have with Stepping Stones and other CSOs that are in existence in the country. So I guess we are on the right direction with the training. I guess we will get somewhere with what we are doing. Now, Murti, you once talked about the issue of reporting, the issues of reporting and referrals,
Yeah.
because that's something that once we have like a problem or we are sensing a problem, not only in our church, even in the home environment,
Yeah.
or maybe in other encounters that we have.
Yeah.
So can you speak a little bit about how you think we should conduct it when we are in the church? How do you think a staff member in the church or a volunteer in the church should handle that issue of reporting?
Yeah, I really appreciate what Renasa just shared about the child being the one protected, the child's interest be the top priority in whatever that we do. I really appreciate that. And even in reporting, we shouldn't be having at the back of our minds to protect the reputation of so and so, to protect the reputation of the institution or an individual or a certain office within the church structures. What we promote is that we need to understand each role the church plays. I mean, at what level are we? What program are we having when this particular thing happens? And when it happened, we need to understand what is our responsibility at that level. Are we equipped to be doing what we want to do? At times we want to do our own investigations and do that. We are not equipped for that. There are certain institutions or government officers that can deal with that. So what we recommend that we should know there are issues that maybe at times would feel they will need discipline that can be dealt with at the church level and even with involving the family and all that. But there are issues that are clearly criminal. Clearly criminal that we cannot try to resolve at church level. And we need to straight away report such issues to the relevant authorities. And when we do that, we put the child's interest at the top of our priority. And when we do that, also we will be more as an institution be seen to be responsible, and as a community of believers would also be seen to be creating an atmosphere that can be trusted with such children.
Yeah.
So we do promote that when certain things happen, report to the relevant authority and let them handle those things. Do not put at the top of your head to protect anyone's reputation, but follow the right procedures of reporting to the relevant authority.
Murti Makoya, I think it's your turn as a specialist in this area. We have a common practice in the country where we always want to say reporting this issue, making a referral to the police is going to tarnish the image of the church, the image of the family, or is going to have far-reaching negative implications. So how do you think we could actually work around this as a church? How should we work around the issues of stigma, the issues that we don't want to be tarnishing the image of the society?
Yeah, thank you so much for that question. The challenge of non-reporting is so detrimental to the life of the child, and it will not reflect well on what Mr. Nasha was saying, that when we look at the crafting of the Children's Act, first and foremost, the interest of the child is at the fore, and that should always be in the discussion when an issue arises. The problem of fearing, the challenge why people do not report is the fear of what will happen after people have reported. After I have reported the case, what is going to happen? The other challenge is probably the bureaucracy that arises, or that the channels through which you have to go through in order for the case to be heard. I'm just going to suggest two, which actually work. Yeah, the first one is, because you are a member of an institution, make sure that you exhaust the channels that they exist in the institution. Make sure that the leaders of the context where you are aware of the problem you are talking about. When they have been made aware of the problem and you observe that nothing is happening, there is also another avenue. There is there's whistleblowing. Yeah, you can actually, if it's a matter of criminality, you can actually go to the Botswana Police Service. They are ever ready to assist through anonymous reporters. You can go there and you will have the issue resolved. You can also approach the Department of Social and Community Development and inform them that you have, though you don't have the details, you have an issue that you think will put the life of the child in jeopardy, and hence the child needs to be assisted. Those channels can help. I want to say that even Christ would not allow for a person to be silent when the child is ill-treated.
Yeah.
Because Jesus says, if you do ill-treat children, it were better for you to have a very heavy, the heaviest stone tied in your neck and thrown into the sea. That's how grave the matter is when it comes to children. So I just want to encourage that let us not fail to report for fear that the church is going to be tarnished. Actually, the church is tarnished more when we do not report abuse. So for the sake of the sanctity and purity of the church, the name of the church and the name of Christ, let us stand up, report and deal with abuse and child neglect. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Muruti. That was really powerful. It's quite powerful and inspirational. Yeah, the last thing that we want to talk about is the fact that tomorrow is the child protection course or training. Muruti, why do you think that it is important for people to attend this course, the course for tomorrow?
It is very, very important, utmost important, importance that our members who are directly dealing with children attend tomorrow's training. I cannot overemphasize the importance of this training. Actually, we are moving because we are just starting this thing from last year. We are moving in the direction that at some point we will not, as a church, allow anyone who's not done either the certification course nor the background check of an individual be allowed to be having access to work with our children at church level. So this is very, very important. It will help our children to be safe. It will equip us even as the ministers, and ministers I mean every individual who ministers to children. It will equip you better placed to know how to handle children, and also it will also increase the confidence of other members or the community, or to have confidence in us as an institution that when we have their children in our custody, they are in safe hands. So this will go a long way in improving our ministry, doing what Christ has called us to do. And when we do that correctly, I think the blessings are just immeasurable that will come our way.
Thank you very much, everyone. I think all that we need to do, as the Bible says in Matthew 18 verse 10, is that we should not despise any child, because we know that the eyes of the Lord are looking upon, the angels are looking upon whatever that we do to these children. So we had a saying in Botswana in the past recent years, I just want us to close with that.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Amen.
Deep and wide, deep and wide, there is a fountain flowing deep and wide, deep and wide, deep and wide, deep and wide, there is a fountain flowing deep and wide, deep and wide, deep and wide, there is a fountain flowing deep and wide, deep and wide. wide, deep and wide, there is a fountain flowing deep and wide. Deep and wide, filled with blood, drawn from Emmanuel's face, and sinners blind beneath the blood, lose all the guilty stains, lose all the guilty stains, lose all the guilty stains, and sinners plunged beneath the flood, lose all the guilty stains. Thou dying Lamb, thy precious blood shall never lose its power, till all the ransomed church of God is saved to sin no more, is saved to sin no more, is saved to sin no more, till all the ransomed church is saved to sin no more, till all the ransomed church is saved to sin no more. Deep and wide, deep and wide, there is a fountain flowing deep and wide, deep and wide, deep and wide, deep and wide, there is a fountain flowing deep and wide, there is a fountain flowing deep and wide, there is a fountain flowing